This is how I was initiated into witchcraft by one of my friend who was a Zimbabwean. We used to work on the same farm. She initiated me into witchcraft. This woman that initiated me, she has since passed away. She died of HIV and she used to prostitute herself quite a lot. And it was not just prostitution that she was doing. She was sleeping with men and she was forming spiritual covenants with those men. Hello everyone who listened to Brother Nashi. Hello brother, how are you? I am coming here today to share my story because I am living a life that has a terrible burden and I do not know where else to go to. I am a South African woman. Now I am living in Johannesburg and I am working in a certain company, and I can say that my life became really bad when I was working at this other farm. I will try to change the years, but it happened a long time ago. I do not want people to link my story directly back to me because of the years. So I'll say that my story started in 2014 when I was still living back home somewhere in Limpopo. My father, who was a vendor, and my mother was a paddy woman. We were living in a village which was close to a farm there, and that farm, it was not the only one farm that was employing a lot of people from our village, but a lot of the farms were employing people from our village. Back then, soon after I had finished my matric, things were hard at home. I did not want to go to college, or maybe the money was not there, because to start thinking about transport money, I knew that it will give my mom a lot of stresses. So I decided that I must go to that farm and look for a job, because even my mom, my stepdad had worked in those farms already. That is where they actually met. My stepdad, he was a foreman. When he said, "What do you want to do now that you have finished writing? What is going to happen?" And I said, obviously, I'm going to fail. I don't want to repeat matric. I want to work because I already had a child. I had a teenage pregnancy. So I decided to go to the farm to look for a job, just like what my stepdad had suggested that I be doing. So by the time that I started working on that farm, I already had a child, had fallen pregnant when I was in grade 11 with my baby daddy. My baby daddy was slightly older than I was already working as a security guard, and he was working as a cash in transit guard, those guys that move money around. I loved this man with all of my heart, but he had one big problem. He loved women too much. Whenever it was payday, he will take all of his money, blow it on other women in the village at the taverns. He would come back home to me and the baby with nothing in his pockets, not even money for Millie Meal or Pampers. I was so desperate. I loved him, but I wanted him to change. I just wanted some mooting to make my husband stop cheating on me, to make him stay at home, and for him to respect our marriage just like the way that I was respecting him. Don't think that there were no men that were chasing after me. There were men at the farm that will beg to date me, but I was not willing to do anything like that. So I worked on that farm. We were doing strong manual labor. Then in 2014, during the harvesting season that I still remember very well, we were harvesting onions. People came, and during onion season, the way that we used to work, the men would be the ones that will be in the fields, whilst us, the ladies, and here and there, just men that will be assisting us, maybe with the forklift and loading the onions, if they were potatoes as well, onto the trucks. So as the ladies, we were the ones that were working in the shed. There was a big packing shed, sorting and grading the onions. One afternoon, this other lady from Zimbabwe walked into the shed together with her husband. Her name was Primrose. She was slightly older than me. Primrose was hell beautiful, and she was so light-skinned, and she was so beautiful. Even the men on the farm, they started to comment about the way that she was beautiful. She and her husband came to the farm. They were looking for a job, and they said that they had done a double up coming all the way from their country. They had been walking for days just looking for work, and they were not getting any work on the other farms. But the other people told them that our farm, since we were harvesting, maybe the boss could offer them a job. So the boss, he felt sorry for them, and he immediately gave them a job. On that very same day, I remember when we were sitting for lunch, because we would sit for lunch around 11 a.m. I remember that there were other guys from Zim that we were working with. They were women that were already on the farm. They started gossiping about Primrose and her husband. They were saying that Primrose's husband was given a strong korobela, a love potion. They said that the man, he looked stupid, like someone whose mind had been taken away by his wife. When I heard them talking, I laughed and I said, "Hi, well, guys, how do you even know that this man was given korobela? You are jealous of her that she has a good husband. I can see." They were talking in Spedi because they did not want Primrose to know that they were gossiping about him and her husband. So as time went on, I started to pay close attention to Primrose and her husband. I realized that these people from Zim, they had noticed, and what they had seen was the truth. It was actually true. There was something very wrong with that man. He acted like he was a stupid person at all the times. He once fell off from the tractor. He nearly broke his back. Like, when we would go onto the tractor, right, you would make sure that we sit in the middle. But I don't know, he was so stupid. He wanted to prove a point. He was standing close to the edge of the tractor. So because of the bumps when we were going to the field, he just fell off, and everyone was laughing. He was like a zombie. He always looked stupid. Even the boss would scream at him. He would do something after the boss would have told him many times. And I saw that there was something that was wrong with this man. Even the boss started by complaining. He refused to go and work with other men. He followed Primrose everywhere like a dog. I started to notice other disturbing things. Primrose was like a prostitute now. She was sleeping with almost every man on the farm, even the other men in our village, because they found a room in the village. She would sleep with anyone. People were talking. Everyone knew it. The strange thing was that one day she fought with another woman who had found some messages in her husband's phone that came from Primrose, and they had been planning to sleep with each other in the bushes after work, and they fought at work. Her husband did not even say anything. Primrose, I even tried to give her advice to stop cheating. She did not even hide her cheating. Her husband never complained. They never fought. He never left her. He just stayed there, and he was a zombie, acting as if everything was normal. I can say that was when I started to think about a lot, and then I was like, I will look at Primrose. She's sleeping with all of these men, but her husband can never leave her. Maybe Primrose can help me. Maybe she is the muti that can make my baby daddy stop looking at other women and to always come home in time and to stick to me alone at all the times. One day, when we were working in the shed and I approached Primrose, I told him about my problems, about my baby daddy and how he blows his money on other women. That is why I was working. I always did not have money. He would even steal my money that we were given each and every fortnight. I asked him if she could give me the same charm that people said that she was using on her husband, so that my own husband can settle down and start to respect our marriage. Primrose, I thought that she was going to feel offended, but she said, okay, no problem. A few days later, she then brought me a charm at work. She told me how to use it as best as she could in my language, and she said I should give it to my husband. I took the charm and I used it on my baby daddy, and I had to wait until I was on my period, and I cooked food using the water that I had used to soak the panty that I had been wearing throughout the day when I was at work. My husband started to change. He stopped going out to the taverns unless if he went with me. We would go there, buy the alcohol that he wanted, buy something for me, and we come back home, we drink and we make love, we enjoy. It was really nice. He stopped using money on other women. He confessed that he was foolish. If he had just stayed with me, by now maybe he could have bought a car like what other guys at his workplace were doing. He became a good person. He would come back home, give me all of his money, and I was the one that would budget, say that at the end of the month we need to buy ABC in town. That is when the nightmare started for me. Right after my husband became a good person, strange things started to happen to me. When I would be sleeping, I would wake up in the middle of the night, not in my physical body, but in a strange place. I would find myself in the graveyard with other women. All of these women, including me, were completely naked. Primrose was always there with us. The most terrifying thing was that the way that we looked, it was like we had been dipped in black oil, and we were black, and we were full of dirt. And in those meetings, we were given meat that had blood that was still fresh, and they would offer me this meat, and they would force me. The first days when I would have this dream, they would force me to eat the meat even if I refused in my dream. When I would wake up the next morning in my bed, I would feel that my stomach, it was extremely full, like I had just eaten a huge meal, and I would not want to eat any breakfast. And my breath, even if I brushed my teeth 3 times with toothpaste, my mouth smelled terrible. Wherever I went to, I had mouthwash with me, like I had eaten something that was dead and it was now rotting inside of me. Around that same time, I started to see these dreams. They happened all the times. When I would fall fast asleep, I would see myself in a round hut. Inside that hut, I would see these women that were sitting in this room, and they were old women, and they were initiating me into witchcraft. By then I knew and I understood that now what was happening here, I was just being initiated into witchcraft. So then later on, I had a dream, and I told Primrose, and I said, Primrose, ever since you gave me that charm for my husband, it worked, as you know, I told you, but I have been seeing you in my dreams. I see you naked and I see myself naked. I've never had such a dream of eating raw meat, and I'm always having this bad breath when I wake up the next morning. Primrose, what is going on? Primrose looked at me, and then she said to me, don't worry, I want to give you something today. When I give you this thing, I want you to remember me. Just think about me before you go to bed. So when we returned back to the location from the farm, we got off from the truck that used to carry us back to the village, and then I went with Primrose to the room where she was staying, and then we got the necklace. She gave me the necklace, and she said, I want you to put this necklace on your neck, and at night when you are going to bed, just remember me before you close your eyes. So I wanted to know why I was having dreams about this Primrose at all the times. After bathing, I took the necklace, put it around my neck, and then I slept next to my husband. I thought about Primrose just like she had told me to do. I closed my eyes. I suddenly woke up inside of a dream, but it felt so real. I found myself standing in my own bedroom, and Primrose was standing right there beside me. I was shocked. I looked at Primrose and I whispered to him. I was in panic. I said, Primrose, how did you enter into my bedroom? The doors are locked and my husband is sleeping right there. How did you get in? Primrose then put her finger on her lips and she said, shh, quiet, your husband will hear us. I turned around to look at my bed, and with what I saw, it made me want to faint. I saw that my body, my physical body, was still lying on the bed, fast asleep next to my husband, but I was standing on the floor next to Primrose, looking at my own body sleeping on the bed. I was shaking. I said to Primrose, how is it even possible that I am not in my body, but I am standing here outside of my body? What is going on? Please tell me the truth. That was the moment that Primrose told me. She said, the truth is that we have been initiating you into witchcraft, and you have been accepted into witchcraft because now you are one of us. The charm that I gave to your husband, in order for it to work, you were supposed to be a witch, and I am the one that assisted you to be who you are, for your husband to be who he is right now. So we have to assist one of us because we wanted to help you for your husband to stop cheating. I said, what if I don't want this anymore? I am crying right now in my dream. What if I want to stop? Primrose then said, if you do not want to be a witch, then it means that whatever that was keeping your husband in line will be removed. Your husband will return to all the women that he was dating, sleeping with them. You will never be able to control him ever again. It is your choice. I stood there. I saw my husband sleeping, started to think about how bad life was when he was wasting money, keeping us in poverty. Now we even had some money in the bank account that he was even saying that, baby, let us buy a car, let us do ABC. We were even talking about a vacation, going to Cape Town for the first time in our life. Things were really good. So I said, okay, I don't want my husband to cheat on me ever again because I know the pain. Primrose then smiled at me and she said, good, now follow me. Before we left the room, Primrose stopped me and then she said, wait, we need to make sure your husband does not wake up whilst we are away. She said to me, I want you to go on top of the bed. Let us turn your husband so he sleeps with his face upwards, lying flat on his back. We turned him around whilst he was fast asleep. Then Primrose told me to climb on top of the bed, and I had my husband's face in between my legs, and I positioned my buttocks directly facing his face, and then I farted right over his face. And she said that I was always supposed to remember that whenever I want to leave my husband, I am supposed to fart in his face so that he won't wake up. This is the muti. This is how a woman that is a witch can leave her husband, and her husband will only wake up when she comes back. And that house, it will never be robbed. There won't be any disturbances as long as you are not in the house until you come back. Then you release your husband from the deep sleep where he does not even hear, feel anything. It's like he is dead. I did as I had been told to do. Then Primrose said, okay, we can go. Then we left the bedroom. The way that we left the bedroom, it was so funny and very strange. We did not open the doors with our hands or any handle. We just walked straight through the walls. And after that, we went. Primrose was the one that was walking in front of me. We went to a graveyard just outside of our village. When we arrived at the cemetery, there were many other women gathered there. They were all naked and they were there to participate in my full initiation. They performed rituals on me and they started teaching me the secrets of witchcraft. They taught me how to physically leave my body at night, but this did not happen on one day. It happened over some time. They taught me how to fly at night and travel through the air, how to target neighbors' homes. They showed me how to inflict suffering on people, how to cause sickness, and especially how to cause financial disruption in people's lives. They taught us that if someone in the village or neighborhood was about to get a job, a promotion, or some money, we had to attack them in the spiritual realm to ruin that opportunity so that they can remain poor for the rest of their lives. They showed us how to execute spiritual attacks by stealing people's hair, their underwear, or even to take soil from your footprint, using those items to bewitch them. During these training nights, I noticed something and I asked Primrose a question. I had noticed that whenever we tried to enter certain houses that even belonged to South Africans, there were ones where we could not get in the first time around. But Primrose, what she will do is that she will sleep with the men of that house. Then we will be able to enter into the house of those people. Primrose explained to me that there are some ancestors that are powerful, then there are people that are very prayerful. She opened my eyes, and one day we saw at this other house which belonged to this other man who was a pastor in our village. He was South African. His house was surrounded by fire, and then Primrose said that I have to sleep with him first so that this fire can be removed totally. I don't know how Primrose managed to convince that pastor to sleep with him, but they slept together, and after they slept together, we were able to enter into the house and we bewitched the pastor and the wife. She revealed a secret to me when we were at work, and she said if a woman in a house is too prayerful spiritually, we cannot enter her house. We use another way. We have to sleep with the husband. Once we sleep with the husband, then we can be able to bewitch the wife, because we would have created a love covenant. She told me that is why I am acting like a prostitute. I sleep with any man because I am not loose or for nothing. No, I sleep with a woman's husband so that I can break the spiritual protection of that home. Once the husband sleeps with me, we have a covenant. I realized that she was not just a prostitute, but she was using a private part as a weapon of her witchcraft. About 2 years passed, we were doing these night activities. By that time, there were 6 of us women on that farm that had been initiated into witchcraft by Primrose. We were all working together at the farm. We were a team. We were so heartless. The things that we did, we got so many people fired. We made people, so many of them, to have diseases. One day, Primrose called the 6 of us to a secret meeting, and she said, there are things that we do in our club that I did not tell you when I first initiated you girls. We said, what are we supposed to do now? Primrose then explained that we have to give each other duties. We are supposed to start killing our husbands one by one. She said, I will lead by example. We will start with my husband. And she revealed a shocking secret that her husband was not her first husband. In her country of birth in Zim, she had 3 other husbands that had already died, that she had donated their lives to the coven. And she said, when our husbands die, we will harvest his flesh in the spiritual realm and we will eat it in our dreams. After we finish eating my husband, then we will move to the next person's husband until all of us, we would have sacrificed our husbands. So the arrangement was simple. Your husband died in the physical world. but in the spiritual realm, we go, we slaughter him and to eat his flesh. Of course, the physical world, they won't see anything strange. He just got sick from a normal disease. Primrose was the first to act. She put the mutim in her husband's food, acted like slow poison. After a few months, he passed away, and then we ate his flesh, and I was also given the muti. My husband said that he was sick, took him to the hospital. They said that he had cancer, and he also passed away. That is how I lost my baby daddy. And at night I would have dreams where I would be eating the flesh. Because of what had happened, I kept on doing these rituals, and I did not enjoy anymore being a witch. I then packed my bags in secret, and I ran away from Limpopo, and I came to Joburg, and I broke off contact with Primrose and those other women. I managed to get a job here in Joburg, where I am currently working for a cleaning company. We clean big commercial offices, buildings. I thought that by coming to Joburg, I am escaping witchcraft. But for this company that I am working for, if I hate you, I can bewitch you. When you are not in the office or I'm cleaning, I can use my witchcraft in your office to put something on your desk, to put some muti in your office that can even make you get fired. There is a lady who suffered from arthritis. She was using her laptop, a personal laptop that she had. So one day I just wiped her laptop with a cloth that I had soaked in water, and I had left that small bucket in the graveyard. And I would go there every day after work. I would sacrifice to go there, and then I will pray for the spirit of death to follow whomever that I was going to give the water to. I then wiped her laptop, the keypads on her laptop, with that water from the grave, and I did not make the laptop to be wet. I just wiped the keyboard with the wet towel, and then I cleaned it off with a dry towel. She did not notice anything, and then she had arthritis and she passed away, that lady. So the saddest part is that these people, they were not supposed to be bewitched. They did nothing wrong to me, but the spirit of witchcraft, once it possesses you, it do whatever that it wants to do with you. These people that I have initiated, like, they are victims. They don't even know that this is what I have done to them. Let's say if I want you to become a witch, I can open your third eye in the spiritual realm, and once your third eye is open spiritually like that, you don't have protection. Any witch in your neighborhood, township, or a suburb, a witch will know that this one has an unguarded third eye opened up. They will take that person and use them to bewitch their own relatives, and when those relatives go to the sangoma, they will be told that so and so is a witch. And when you are told that you are a witch, you can cry as much as you want, but people will never believe that you are not a witch, because the sangoma will be seeing you, because you are the one that is being used by the real witches. And those witches, they won't even come to you like what Primrose was doing. They won't even bother to initiate you. They just use you, because the witches, they don't want their faces to be seen by the real people that they will be bewitching. So the innocent people are the ones that will suffer. I am telling my confession, brother, because I don't know how to stop this. Primrose, she died of HIV, like she was sleeping with everyone. She died here in South Africa. After many years, when I would go back to Limpopo, I would see her. There were times when I would just avoid her because I did not want to associate with the witches anymore. But it is following me, and I need advice. If you know a real man of God that can break off these chains of the devil, I am tired to live as a witch. Thank you for listening to my confession. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to us by one of our dear sister. Let us speak with her in the comment section. If you know where she can go to, where she can be assisted in Joburg, let us try to tell him where she can go to in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching.